This is how I chose to spend my time the past couple of weeks, sifting through and picking out the best looking trash. And the reason for that is my new collection of 3D scanned assets. As you can see, it's all about debris. Let's talk about it. The idea behind this collection was to create a detailed set of objects you could just drop into your scene and instantly get the lived-in look you would expect out of a real environment. In this case, traditional tools like polygonal modeling and sculpting are not the best choice. We can definitely create convincing models that way, but it's difficult to nail the realism. That's where photogrammetry comes into play. With 3D scanning, we can easily capture all the properties of the real thing. Wear and tear, scratches, dents, it's all there. Let's take as an example this brick. It has everything we need out of a weathered object. It's banged up, there are stains from God knows what, let's not talk about that, and we also have a great looking texture. There's so much variance in the color of the brick, we have discolorations all over the place, we basically get the perfect weathered look. Having this type of detail on a 3D object we can easily import into a scene is just wonderful. But that's the real object. Let's now see how this scan looks like. This is why I love photogrammetry so much. We've managed to capture all the imperfections of the object, the bumpiness, the dents, all the little random deformations. It's really incredible to see. And once we add the captured color information, we have one awesome looking asset. This is one of the 13 objects available in the collection. Where things shine though is in the irregular type of objects, like this one here. We have two different surface properties in one object. One side is rough and the other one is a little bit more brittle. And the 3D scan manages to capture all that. This is not something we can easily reproduce with regular modeling methods. So that's the 1.5 million polygon scan. How does the final low poly asset look like? Through the use of normal and displacement maps, we can still maintain the level of detail needed for a realistic type of scene. The object in the library is a little bit over 9,000 polygons, but it still has all the details of the 1.5 million polygon scan. Here's a couple more objects out of the collection. The scanning process can be tedious, but when you see the final result, it's all worth it. The objects are shot with cross-polarized light to ensure a clean capture of the color texture. You would think that objects as rough as these ones don't have any reflective properties, but that's not true. As you can see, they can be very reflective. What was also important was to have a series of objects that can work really well together. And the 13 objects of the collection can be combined in all sorts of ways to create the chaos needed for a realistic scene. And here's all of them in one single image. We can easily get this nice chaotic look, something that resembles the real world. Every object comes with 4 textures in total: diffuse, roughness, normal, and displacement maps. When you buy the collection, you get 2 versions of the assets, a C4D database and individual FBX files. So even if you're not a Cinema 4D user, you're not left out. But if you happen to have Cinema 4D, you get some nice little quality of life improvements. For example, once you install the database, you can quickly bring them up in the asset browser, just by typing in the debris keyword. They're also tagged in other ways, so we can type, for example, brick, and all the brick assets will show up. Or we can type fragments, and the results will update accordingly. You can also just type my name and the assets will show up. Here you see more because the other collection I've released is also installed, and there are some assets available in Cinema's default asset browser, but you get the point. It's very easy to bring them up without having to dig into folders and subfolders. One other benefit of working with the Cinema 4D version of the assets is the ability to art direct the chaos by using Cinema's awesome placement tools. Of course, this step is not needed. We can place our objects a million other ways, like manually placing them into the scene or using the simulation tools available on all 3D apps. But there's something about the ability to art direct things that I absolutely love. Either way though, whatever you choose, Cinema 4D or another 3D app, you're covered. The collection comes with two different zip files. The first one is the Cinema 4D database, and the second one is the objects in FBX form. Each object has its own folder and a subfolder containing all the textures. I'll have the link of the buy page in the description below so you can see things in more detail. I think it's a really cool library to have, especially if you're planning to work on a scene that will need these intricate little details. And I think that's about it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.